A former Rangers superstar and multiple-time Stanley Cup champion may be looking to make a return to New York, as multiple reports have come out stating that there could be some interest from both parties, and the name may shock New York Rangers fans. We're going to break all of that down, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 80% of you watching our videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, so if you want to do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. We've got the draft and free agency coming up next week. It's going to be very, very exciting, and without further ado, we'll get right into it. The name, of course, I'm referring to is Patrick Kane, okay? A New York Ranger just 2 seasons ago acquired at the trade deadline, and it seems like there could be some interest between both the Rangers and Patrick Kane in having Patrick Kane return to New York next season via free agency. And it's pretty interesting because myself personally, I thought he was done after that surgery, right? He was clearly hurt with the Rangers when they first acquired him, and he was still quite good for the Rangers in that playoff run, but clearly injured, and I did not think he was going to have the season he had last year in 23-24, but we're going to break all of that down, and it all started with this first report from Jim, and of course it says, Patrick Kane is healthy and could be looking to make it right in New York. A New York Rangers reunion, which would be absolutely, it's very interesting. Okay, a lot of fans are on the fence, and if you're watching this right now, you're probably yelling at your screen for one way or another. You're either yelling yes or no for multiple reasons. We don't know what a contract may look like, but it's pretty interesting. Jim goes on to say a healthy Kane could have provided, and by the way, this is a great article, so go check it out yourself. A healthy Kane could have provided New York a different look in the top 6 in the playoffs. That's for sure. He could be, a top line winger for them right now. And obviously it ended in a 6-game loss to the Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Final. How he would have handled the relentless physicality of the Panthers is unknown at this point in his career, obviously, but his creativity has gotten him out of situations like that in the past, and he knows how to win Stanley Cups. I mean, he's won 3 of them in Chicago, right? So very, very interesting proposal here, of course, and obviously he's going to have to be willing to accept less. Obviously, the Rangers just freed up quite a bit of salary, almost $4 million, with putting Barclay Goodrow on waivers, and of course, he was claimed by the San Jose Sharks. We just had a video on that as well. So that really helps with signing Patrick Kane. Of course, he's going to have to take less, but at the same time, he had a pretty great season for not only his age, but the fact that he had the surgery that he had. A lot of people do not return to good form after that surgery. Not even good form. A lot of players don't even return to play after the surgery he had, and he was pretty good last season. We'll take a look at it now, of course, and we'll get to this quote in a second, but Patrick Kane last year, he's going to be 36, so of course he's getting up there in age, but in his 35-year-old season, 47 points in 50 games. He didn't play the entire season, of course, but he was playing pretty significant minutes for a Detroit team that I thought was going to make the playoffs personally. They were very close. They were right there, and he was almost a point-a-game player. He's still putting up 20 goals at 35 years old on a team that didn't even make the playoffs. So honestly, very, very interesting proposition here. Let me know in the comments what you think of Patrick Kane, if a reunion would be good. I think he could take over, maybe not the top spot, but that is a player who can instantly fit into your top 6, I think, still at this age and produce. Maybe he doesn't play the full season, but he's another guy that, when healthy or as healthy as he's going to get, he can produce for you in the playoffs. And we saw it, right? He was pretty effective against the New Jersey Devils just a season ago, or 2 seasons at this point, in the playoffs. Of course, that didn't end well, but he was hurt. He was hurt. You acquired a hurt player, and clearly he's feeling a little bit better. So again, like I mentioned, very interesting proposition here. And like I mentioned, freeing up cap space with Barclay Goodrow gone now, that, if he does want to take less to have, listen, if you're Patrick Kane, this could be your last shot at a Stanley Cup. Right? It's very true. He's going to want to sign with a contender. He thought he was signing with a contender in Detroit last year. Didn't even make the playoffs. He's upset about that. He wants to play meaningful hockey to end his career, and we don't know how many years he has left. This could be it. So maybe he does sign less to stay in New York, or to sign with New York, I should say, for the season, try and win a Stanley Cup. Because, of course, the Rangers are they're going to gun for it next year. They want a Stanley Cup. So very interesting. And, the reaction from Rangers fans is all over the place. Okay, everyone is either, there's some people on the fence, there's some people that are like, this is a terrible move. Yes, I would love Patrick Kane back, right? A lot of it is, and this, for example, is a great example of what's going on Twitter right now. Twitter's going to hate this, but I do smell a Patty Kane reunion as a real possibility. Lavi and Kane have a connection through USA Hockey, which I didn't think about either. That is a pretty interesting connection there that could lend to Kane coming. Competitive team, a coach he knows, a lot of things, lending towards that. And the Rangers realistically now with the buyout have about $5 million to allocate towards him. And would you spend $5 million on a forward who's a point-a-game player? Maybe he might not play the whole season, but still very effective. Patrick Kane had a great season last year. So very, very interesting. And some Rangers fans are even going far enough to make mock lineups with some players that they would like this offseason. So you got like a makeshift first line of Kreider, Mika Zibanejad, and Patrick Kane, or Marchessault could be an option as well. We'll have a video on that too. But a lot of different options there. And, Kane fitting onto that first line is very, very, it's an interesting thought. All right. But let me know what you think. And I thought this quote was very interesting too from the same article. He felt like when he got to New York and he was hurt, he tried to do his best, but that he sort of disappointed them. That was from Frank Saravalli. They didn't say that, but he felt like he left something on the table because he wasn't at full strength. And I think he wanted a chance to try and do that over again to make it right. And make it right he would if he were to come back and, play healthy, right? To a certain degree. Of course, he's not the same Patrick Kane of old. He's older. Obviously, he's had that surgery. He's not the same player, but he's very effective. I showed you his stats, almost a point a game player at his age. And I keep saying it. He's probably not going to play the full 82 game season, but for what he is, he's very effective, and you would be getting him essentially for the playoffs, because this team should absolutely make the playoffs next year, and they still have about $15 million to allocate in free agency this year. And obviously you have to sign a few players like Ryan Lindgren, Braden Schneider, still that has to happen. But very interesting. I wonder if Patrick Kane does make a return to New York. I see there could be mutual interest. The Rangers, you're going to get a point-a-game player still, a guy who's won multiple Stanley Cups. On the other side, Patrick Kane, he wants to play for a contender. The New York Rangers are going to be a contender, right? And would he take a little bit less to play on a good team? I think he wants to win one last Stanley Cup here before he retires. And I think he can do that in New York. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. Let me know in the comments what you think of this whole scenario. Yes to Patrick Kane, no to Patrick Kane. Are you on the fence? I think it's a very interesting fit. I don't know about filling the first line right wing spot with him because he is older and who knows if he plays the full year, but I think he can really help your top six again. And I thought he was pretty good, right? Even though he was hurt in the playoffs just a couple years ago, I thought he was still good. So let me know what you think in the comments. It's a very interesting proposition. It's a realistic proposition for the Rangers as well, and they would still have quite a bit of cap space to work with in free agency to sign other players as well. So let me know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers heading into the draft and free agency.